Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are live on Facebook. We have we got a hot show tonight. I mean, a real hot show tonight. I'm like excited as heck about this show. And you live on the Night Brothers Intermittent Fasting Show. How my brothers doing?
Doing great, brother.
Fantastic,
Man, what's up, bro?
fantastic.
What's going on?
So we're gonna get into a robust discussion about health like we always do. But I just want to kick it around the corner real fast. And brothers, why don't you introduce yourself and then we'll go into the presentation.
All right, I'm Clifton Coates
Arden Smith.
Equavian Night.
All right, so we got, now most of y'all anthropologists, you might know Arden Smith. Some of y'all might know my brother, obviously, and myself. But Clifton Coates, man, y'all in for a treat tonight. You hear what I'm talking about? You're in for a treat tonight. I've known this brother for a good while, and we're going to dive into some deep subjects. It's going to be a little bit different tonight, but we're going to have some fun. So I'm going to share the program, and we're going to get this show started tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
I want to welcome Keith Colbert to the show tonight. How you doing, Keith? Good to see you as well, brother.
All right. It's almost showtime, baby.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for joining in. It's y'all in the second. Woo, Keith, we was big.
It amazes me every time.
Showtime is showtime. Y'all live.
Lenny, before we get started, I just want to thank Angie Porter for being on board tonight, Cheryl Hunt, Keith Colbert, Joanne Jenkins is watching, Gladys Young, Mimi Clark, and so many others. We just want to say good evening, everybody, and we're glad you're on board with us tonight. We have a very, very interesting show, and with that, let's get started. Let's get ready to rumble.
No doubt. No, every Tuesday night we do this. My brother, Equavian, and myself, they call him Q. Let me introduce him. He's the show host. His name is Equavian, the only Equavian I know in the entire world.
Yes, sir. One and only.
Absolutely.
I don't know where mom got that name from, but it's unique, brother. Anyway,
No question.
We call him Q. Some people call him E. Whatever you want to call him, just don't call him late for his intermittent fasting dinner. You know what I'm saying?
Short window, that is a short window.
So Q, 91 pounds in 1 year, man. Just every time I look at the screen, man, it's just phenomenal. Your 20-hour fast and your 4-hour feeding window, you still doing that, or are you doing OMAD? What you doing?
Yeah, basically, it's a 20-hour fasting window with 4-hour feeding window. Sometimes I vary that. I might knock it down to 18 and 6, but that's usually the 20 and 4 is my normal routine.
Okay. And you still exercising in all this heat? I know you got.
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't. Like I said, I don't go to the gym or anything anymore. Nobody's really going. Well, gyms are back open, but I do walk. 2 or 3 times a week at least, at minimum, and I might do push-ups or something at home, but that's about it because, as we always talk about, 80% fasting, 20% exercise, and that does the trick for me.
That's the rule, brother.
Oh, yes.
My brother does not drink alcohol, he does not smoke, and phenomenally, he's a couple years older than me, and he's on no prescribed medications. and I got a 6 in front of my age number. So if he's a little older than me and he doesn't have this, just a phenomenal job. What's up, Lenny Rice? My nephew joined in. Paula Harris just joined in.
Gacy Vaughn. Gacy, my girl.
Eleanor Hawkins, how do you as well?
Yes,
Paula Harris, hello to you as well.
Lenny Rice. Lenny Rice in the building.
So, and our co-host is my brother, Lenny Knight. Lenny Knight, like I always say this every week because it's so true. Lenny just really enjoys helping people. He's just an all-around great guy. Lenny's lost 45 pounds in the last year through intermittent fasting. And his favorite protocol is, you still doing a 20-hour fast with a 4-hour feeding window, Lenny?
Mostly that or either the OMAD. I do 1 meal.
Okay, great. Lenny's also, he loves to get out there and run. You're still running a few times a week as well?
As much as I can. I've been working a lot lately, but I really got into jogging, Cliff, and I really started liking it, man.
His diet is 70% vegetarian, 30% pescatarian. Lenny will have his beer and wine occasionally, and he does not smoke, and he's very limited in medications as well. So thank God for that.
Yes, indeed.
Like we said, folks, tonight, Brothers Intermittent Fasting Show. Do this every Tuesday night on Facebook Live. We're trying to bring you interesting topics. It's not always 100% about intermittent fasting. It's about some dietary and health situations, and we just like to mix it up and try to keep it fun. So we want to give a shout out to all the lovely ladies that have joined us. This is our 12th week.
All right.
Yes, sir.
We got Cheryl Hunt last week on the show. Oh my God, you was phenomenal, Cheryl.
She killed it. She absolutely killed it last week.
Her
and Deborah Wilkinson, we appreciate them both.
Joanne Jenkins, Kimberly Queen has joined in, doing a phenomenal job. Ashley Knight, my son's wife, is doing good. Get some names from me, Q. You see the names?
Yes, Tori Walton. She's doing a great job. Cheryl Brooks, Wanda Burton Powell, Deborah Wilson, as who was our guest last week. Paris Lane, my old friend, and Gladys Young, who's started recently as one of your co-workers. So it's just great to have women on board, and and
good stuff.
Picking up this lifestyle.
Gladys was on vacation last week. She came back after 8 or 9 days. Looked like she lost about 20 pounds.
Wow.
All right.
That's what she like.
And let's not forget about the fellas, Lenny. Let's not forget about them.
Oh, no doubt. The fellas is killing it. Why don't you introduce some of these great guys?
Yeah, we have Keith Colbert and Sean Strain, Lenny Knight, your son, our nephew Carlos Rice, other nephew who's been a previous guest, Lenny Rice. Oh, our cousin LaCaine Herndon from the ATL, and my brother and our brother, Arden Smith, and many others who are coming on board. Our newcomers this week, people who've just started the protocol. We have a friend of mine, Vonda Franklin. We have Joe Cobb. And another all-around good guy. And our niece, Lenny, Charlisa Folks as well. So we thank God for them coming on board. They're starting a new protocol. So we're grateful.
We probably got, we almost up to 20 people, I think, man. And
man, the community is growing. The community is growing, man. And the thing about it, this is something that is needed in our community. And Brother Cliff, I know you're going to talk about that later. You and Arden are both going to address that later.
Mm-hmm.
And most of them are starting with the 16 and 8 protocol. But the question is, who wants to be next?
How about that?
So, like I say, you know how the preachers say, if you want to be next, when they say they're going to pray for the Q, they say, just slip your hand up in the air. We won't tell you. Slip your hand up in the air.
Slip your hands in the air.
Type your name in, because if you want to be next, type your name in the chat right now so we can feature you on next week's show. So with that,
let's give a quick shout out to Cheryl, to Gail Brown and Felisa Powell Johnson and many others who are jumping on board. We just would like to acknowledge people and move forward. All right, let's continue on.
So Q, we got some breaking news this week. We've been talking about this every week, but it is finally here.
Oh, yes. I'm excited about this.
You don't guess what it is?
Come on, break it to us.
The Knight Brothers Show is now on YouTube, baby.
Yes.
Right.
We finally got our YouTube, guys. We finally got our YouTube channel up and running. And so we're going to ask each and every one of you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's going to be a wealth of information there. And what this will do, it'll help answer a lot of your questions that you may have. So
you missed the show, you can go back and look at it. And look, this is how you get to us on YouTube. It actually looks like this when it goes there. You'll see the logo and it says Night Brothers IF. The IF show, which means intermittent fasting. That's what the IF is for. So Night Brothers IF show night. And when you get there, you'll see the pages. You'll see some of the shows. You'll see the logos. This is what it'll look like. You'll see some of the episodes. We got Lenny Rice down there in the right-hand corner, and Arden Smith. Got Cheryl Hunter on the top show, her and Debbie Wilkinson. So y'all please join the show. Join the channel and give us some likes and loves on that. We're just trying to help people like you said. That's what it's all about.
And Lenny, Lisa Powell raised her hand. Lisa Powell Johnson raised her hand and said she wants to be next. So
All right.
we're definitely going to work on that, honey. We're definitely going to work on that. Awesome.
Welcome to the team.
Welcome to the team.
So every week we hit a social aspect too. Like I said, the show is about intermittent fasting. We like to mix it up with some social issues and things of that nature. So this week we're going to talk about something that's we think is very important. All four of these brothers on here. On a scale of 1 to 10, and y'all can type your number in the chat group so we can get a little engagement. How important is voter registration to you? Because we in that season, baby. Huh, Cliff?
I'd say it is a 10.
Oh, no doubt. So
No question about it, brother. No question.
10.
So have you registered to vote yet? Anybody out there registered to vote yet?
I'm already registered.
Everybody out there registered.
So look, y'all know the
Exactly.
climate of what's going on out here. There's a lot going on in the world today, particularly in our country. Thanks, Mimi and Cheryl, for saying it's a 10 for y'all. Gladys saying it's a 10. So we want people to know how to register to vote. So in that box, we have one of them that says how to register to vote. You can actually go to a website or you can go online. You can go to vote.org or the Maryland State Board of Elections. I know most of the people in Maryland, or if not, you can Google it online. Patricia Proctor says 10, no doubt. Yep. Voted in the primary. Cheryl Brooks, I see you. Stephanie Williams, yes, no doubt. Tim Wilson, thanks for joining and watching tonight. So you was on last week, my brother. Tim, we had some good old days back at Potomac, brother. Good days back at Potomac. So
Yes, sir.
Tim used to be my beer vendor. He used to bring me beer in that we used to sell. I'm going for intermittent fasting and drinking beer. But look, it's all good. it's all good. So yeah, y'all get out there, do your thing with the voting, and get out there and get popping on that. So the Zero app is an app that I use. My nephew Lenny Rice uses it. It helps you with intermittent fasting to keep track of how many hours you use, how many hours that you're fasting. Kind of keeps up with how many fasts you're doing per month and per week. So, Q, can you handle the disclaimer for me, or Cliff?
Yes, good. Well, we are not physicians, and this show is not to provide medical advice for any ailments or medical conditions. So we want to make that clear. If you have a medical condition, we strongly suggest you seek the advice of a professional healthcare provider prior to attempting any of the information shown on this broadcast. So we just want to get that out front, okay?
No doubt. So tonight's special guest, now this brother here, man, oh my God.
Wow.
He got so many credentials.
Start clapping now. Start
Yeah,
clapping. Start clapping now.
Brother Clifton Coates, and I've known Cliff for a good number of years now, and his credentials are extraordinary. So I'm gonna break them down. He was a former director of career service at the University of the District of Columbia. He also was the principal at Calvin Coolidge Senior High School. The brother's a longtime member of the Masonic fraternity. He has 45 years as a vegan, and how many years as a vegetarian?
47.
47. He hosts his own podcast on a show titled For Those Who Know Me Well, and also you have another show that's connected to that topic, Cliff.
Yeah, I have a podcast. I also do a Facebook blog of the same name.
This brother has also wrote a book. It's called For Those Who Know Me Well. So he's an author. We're going to dive into this in a little bit. the brother's he speaks all over the place. The National Association for Student Affairs Professionals. He spoke for the NAACP before. He spoke at the Broward County, Florida Chamber of Commerce. My God, brothers everywhere. The National Urban League, and just numerous more. I had to stop. The page ran out, Cliff.
You're not a room, baby.
I couldn't get him on this. So we're gonna do an interview with him in just a second. But can y'all do me a favor, because this brother's time is valuable. I was lucky to be able to get him. Can everybody do me a favor? Hit a like and a love on the screen right now for me being able to get Clifton Coates onto the show tonight. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
You're welcome, brother.
Come on, y'all give it up. Robert Eads, welcome to the show as well, brother.
Arthur Payton, good to see you, brother. Glad you joined us.
Oh, Arthur Payton, thanks for joining in.
Yes,
I'm a
sir.
great guest tonight, and he's a regular consultant on the show, and Cliff's gonna be a regular too at some point. It's Natural Arden Smith, my brother.
What's going on, Natural?
Amen.
Love, King. Peace and love.
Thanks for joining again, Arden. Now, Arden is on a weight loss. He's on a maintenance situation. And Q, why don't you kick his credentials, his bio for us?
Yes, sir. Arden is like he's in a maintenance phase. He's intermittent fasted for many, many years. His favorite method is 18 and 6, 18-hour fast with a 6-hour feeding window. He exercises 3 or 4 times a week. Arden, guys, is a kick butt karate person, man.
Yeah,
He has numerous belts. Arden loves to help people as well. That's another thing I love about. He's inducted in the Hall of Fame for his exploits with
martial arts.
Martial arts. I'm sorry, guys. I had to burp and I couldn't get it out. I'm sorry. But yeah, he's 100% vegetarian, and Arden's all around great guy. We're lucky to have him as a part of the team.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I appreciate you guys. I'm definitely humbled to be here.
Yes.
Indeed.
So Q, Stacey Rice just joined. Arthur Payton.
All right. Good to have people on board.
Right? So Q, I know what's been happening around town lately as you've been out here walking and
Yes.
out here exercising in the street. And, you know, I know you kept getting some of those people running up to you and driving up in the cars and saying, hey, Q, Q, can you explain? Help me. You know, people stopping them in cars and carrying out. And, can I do this on the fast, Q? The brother trying to exercise, y'all. But he's out there doing his thing. And so a lot of questions, I'm running into some of the same things. People want to know, you know.
Yeah, Lenny, I know you're running into that as well.
How did I start? What can I drink this? Can I eat that big pizza right there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What can I do? So tonight, this is what we're going to do, y'all. Tonight's show, 2-night show. This has been a long-awaited subject. Tonight's show is dedicated to the beginners. How about that?
Yeah. Come on, man. Come on.
Dedicated to the beginners. So we're going to break that down for you tonight. But before we do all of that, we got to kick the ballistics with my man here. We got to get into this interview so y'all can really learn about this brother, Clifton Coates right here. And we're going to break that down with him in just a second here. But so we're going to do this interview with Cliff Coates, and we're going to break these questions down in a second. We're going to ask Cliff about his nutrition situation. You know, ask him about, you know, when did he learn of intermittent fasting, or learn of fasting in general, and how it enhanced his lifestyle, and, you know, his exercise routine, how much and how often. And then this guy got some advice for the beginners. And then he got some other influence that, who know about Dick Gregory?
Oh, absolutely.
Who know about Dr. Sabi? This brother.
Yes.
This brother had relationships with these guys, so he can really break down some things about that. Yeah, that deserves a like and a love. So what we're going to do is, and then he's going to tell you about his book that he wrote, To Those Who Know Me Well. And we're going to kick all of that with Cliff. But before we do all of that, let me drop out the screen and bring you Cliff, then Coates. There you go, my brother. What's up?
Welcome to the show, Cliff. Welcome to the show, my brother.
Thank you, brothers. Thanks for having me, man. Thanks for all those accolades, man. I appreciate that. But you know, you Natural and Lenny, y'all, you guys know I'm just a guy. You know what I mean? You know, I love you guys like my brothers. Y'all my little brothers. You know, I love y'all. And Q, it's good finally getting an opportunity, man, to just put my face on your face, bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just put my face on your face.
Yes, sir. Yes.
All right, what you got, Lenny? What you got?
So I mean, just break down into. I know you've been a big on nutrition your entire life. Just kind of give some people background on how you got into nutrition, why it was important to you, how it enhanced your life.
All right.
A little bit about fasting, and it's a little different from the intermittent thing, but just kick us some knowledge, brother.
Okay, let me help you understand, and then once I kick this early piece to you, you'll know what happened. I had 5 straight uncles that died of cancer
Wow.
back in the early and mid 70s. One died of bowel cancer of the bowel. One died of colon cancer. One died of what we could probably be perceived right now as what do you call it, prostate cancer. One died of throat cancer. And so what I was wondering is, why are all of these men in my family, these were my uncles, why are great uncles, why are these cats dying? And how can I not be one of them?
How about that?
Okay, and so at the time I was going from boot camp to my first duty station in the Navy, which was in Norfolk. And from boot camp to right this day, right here that I sit, I have not eaten meat.
Wow.
From October of 1974 to right this minute that I sit here, I have not eaten meat.
Right.
Because what I found out was in fact that it was our relationship to animals that was causing our demise. Our relationship to animals was causing our demise. And so as a direct result, now please, I don't want you to think that it wasn't a struggle. And I'm not talking about a struggle with food. I'm talking about a struggle with how I saw food.
Yes.
That's a big difference, my brother.
Not anything to do with food, because I had this right here. But I'm talking about, how do I go about replacing that which I gave up? Because you got to understand, back then there was no Morningstar Farm.
No.
There was, we had to make doggone stuff straight through cheesecloth and all that. We had to boil the soybeans to make soy milk, right? Take it in cheesecloth and squeeze it out of the cheesecloth, and then what was left in the cheesecloth became what was known as the soy cheese. And so that's why I tell people, don't play with me, please. Because I remember the days when I had to rely on just certain food groups. I had to rely on nuts. I had to rely on fruit. I had to rely on vegetables. I had to rely on beans.
That's right.
And that was the classic vegetarian diet, back in the day, long before any of these folks decided that there was a group of people that we needed to address. So now all these companies come running in, right? To address those needs over the years. So when a person asks me, how did I get this way? I explain to them, because I ran track 17 years. I explained to them, this is how I got here.
Awesome. Wow. So with this, you somewhere along the line, because you was one of the people that told me about, you need to fast sometimes. How did you take the nutrition part of it and then start incorporating fasting as a mechanism to really enhance your health?
And I appreciate you asking that question. And I told you guys that I had pulled up my back. And I know Natural been around long enough to know what back to eating is.
Show that one more time, Cliff, so people can see the book.
That's my book right there.
Right in front of me. It's hard to show it backwards.
I'm on my third one.
All right, got it. Let me see it clearly now. Great.
This was the original book. This book was written in 1938, but it was the original book that I began to read. And when I first became an herbalist and all those kind of things, it was the first book that I read that actually got me started and helped me not lose my damn mind, because I had made a decision, not to eat meat.
Gotcha.
Now, Cliff, hold on a second. We got to thank a couple people for joining in, just to give them a shout.
Jackie Mason.
Carmen Johnson, thanks for jumping on. Gregory Harris. What's up, Greg, man? How you doing, brother? Katrina Bethea joined in, and Jackie Mason. Thanks for joining in tonight, folks.
Lenny, I only partially answered your question. I was explaining to you and Q a little bit earlier that sometimes there's a misnomer involving fasting.
Yes.
And people need to understand a fasting, particularly in that period of time between sleep and waking up. You know, that period right there is fasting.
Mm-hmm.
And as I told y'all earlier, a break fast, or what we call a breakfast, right, is when we then begin introducing food to the body again.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't care if we go to sleep at 10 at night or 11 at night and we wake up at 8, 9 in the morning and we don't eat until 3 in the afternoon.
Yes.
That first meal is still called
Breakfast.
fast.
Yes. Yes.
Or breakfast.
Yes.
Say that one more time.
We
Say that
need
one more
to be
time.
clear on that.
Say that one more time.
I
Slowly.
think you need to say that one more time, brother. Please.
Okay, good. In other words, that very first meal, and I don't care what time it is, if you have not eaten between the time you have gotten up and then the time you've maneuvered through your day, that first meal is known as your break fast.
All right, there you go.
Awesome.
There you go. There you go.
Dropping nuggets. You're dropping nuggets.
So Cliff, tell me a little bit about, or for somebody that's really, new to they're trying to get their nutrition together. Because look, all of us going through situations. It's just COVID and everything out here is crazy.
Okay.
And even before that, as a community, we just need to be a little bit more health conscious so we can live longer, be there for our loved ones. What advice for a beginner? How can somebody that, look, they're trying to learn, they're trying to figure out, what would you say?
The first thing that I usually tell people, and this is very important, and Arden will agree with this, you got to get that European out of your body. Let's not play. That's the first thing, because his production of food is only for one purpose, and that's to shorten your life. It's not to lengthen your life, because why is it that when you go to a Burger King, when you go to a Wendy's, you're getting 2 burgers for $3. And I'm going somewhere to get a veggie burger and I'm paying $11, $9, $10. So apparently somebody doesn't want me to have good for you.
Brother.
And so let me now answer your question. First of all, I tell people, do an examination of yourself. If this is what you really want, be honest with yourself. Let's not kid yourself. If this is really what you want, then first thing that you're going to have to develop is you're going to have to develop the willpower to change.
What was that word again?
Willpower to change.
Oh yeah.
And not just that, natural, but here's the key, and you know this from being a martial artist. You have got to be so focused, and as Napoleon Hill in Think and Grow Rich said years ago, your definiteness of purpose, your purpose for wanting to make this change.
That why?
Because this is no respect of husband, no respect of wife, no respect of girlfriend, boyfriend, mom, dad. This is all about you. So you have got, that's right. So you have got to make the decision that it is time for you to change. So in other words, my comment to you, Lenny, is this has nothing to do with food. First, it has something to do with the psychology of food and the psychology of change.
Man,
absolutely, brother. Absolutely.
I don't think you could have, that's the most powerful statement that you could have possibly made, Cliff. Because when it comes down to mentally, when you make a decision that you want to do this for you, no matter what it is, if it's about being rich, is it about, starting a business or whatever it is, diet, intermittent fasting is just another one of those choices.
That's correct. That's absolutely correct.
And it's your attitude on how you want to live and how you want to go through this earth. So man, great advice. Look, Cliff, we're gonna keep it moving, and we're gonna jump into a few things on the broadcast. So let me go back to sharing the screen for folks so they can see where we are and what's going on. So we're gonna dive right into a little bit more about the other parts of the show tonight. Now the other parts, Q, a couple people joined. Can you hit them out while I'm bringing this
Yes,
up?
I want to say, give a shout out to Flower Blossom, who just came on, Joe Cobb again, Ronald Harris, good to see you, my brother. and a few others who've just joined the show. We're glad to have you on board. And this show, guys, is one you want to keep in your archives, because you're going to refer back to this as we move through this show when we talk about what we're about to get into right now.
So, like we said earlier, the show is about beginners, Arden. So, can you break down the three things that we're going to talk about tonight and how to help beginners?
Well, I mean, one thing, basics of intermittent fasting is that time window. And one big thing is not to get over bombarded by what I'm eating in reference to that time. The first thing is getting the concept. I mean, because really we're going to take care of one thing at a time. Is take care of getting used to doing that window and taking care of that window, and then evaluating. I think Cliff put it eloquently, evaluating your lifestyle in reference to when are you going to wake up? Do you take medicine in the morning at this point in time, or do you work late, or whatever that is, and pick your time that works for you the best. Yes. And guess what? It's no right or wrong way if you just have your window. So if it's later on in the day that works for you, if it's early in the day that works for you, and me, it's like the middle of the day. But what you're going to also see is that certain times you may know that you're going to go out on one night. So maybe you don't eat earlier. You break that fast 3-4 o'clock so you can have a later evening out with your family or whatever else. But the key is to focus on getting that window down and getting a habit and getting your body used to that. Because after that, it's funny what happens. It's like, you know, you take one step and, you know, God or the Most High, or whatever you want to call it, that higher force in your life will indicate to you and start pushing you to, okay, well, I'm already within my window and I'm kind of comfortable with that. Now I might be able to eat a little bit better and listen, you know, kind of eat more like Lenny. Maybe I want to be a pescatarian, or maybe I want to, you know, maybe I still eat meat, but eating better quality, or maybe be a vegetarian or a vegan. But bottom line is that first and foremost, work on that time period and getting it within that window. And really, really, really important is that, guess what? We're all human beings. We all make mistakes. Don't beat yourself up if you make a mistake. Yes. Don't throw yourself under the bus. Don't say, I can't do this. Lord knows, anybody got children in here? How many times did your child fall before he kept walking? Right. Did he quit? Are you carrying around a 30-year-old right now? I don't think so. So the same mindset you're gonna have to have there. And it's funny because, like Lao Tzu said, mastering others is strength, but mastering yourself is true power. And absolutely, absolutely. As you start mastering yourself, and in this framework, I think Lenny earlier said, you know, things lead to other successes in your life. You know, success breeds success. So when you're successful here, it'll get easier. Transferable. And then you end up being like, you know, you kind of move into, and it depends on what you want out of this. But you will move into a situation where you can have more time. You can do a one meal a day, like a Q or Lenny Knight, and maintain yourself.
We're going to jump into some of that since you just said that. So we're going to kick the basics. And Q, why don't you break down, because people want to know, like, what is intermittent fasting? So basically, just what is intermittent fasting?
Yeah, all intermittent fasting is time-based eating. You know, it's a pattern for your eating. And, you know, we have a tendency to complicate things. But as Brother Cliff said earlier, most of us are fasting anyway, because when you sleep, you're actually fasting. And that becomes a part of your fasting window. And that's what it's really all about. Having a certain time in which you eat and a certain time in which you don't eat. And it's more important about when you eat than what you eat and the hours you choose. And fasting, like I said, when you're doing your fasting protocol and window, that just means you're not eating. And when you're eating your feeding window, that means you are allowed to consume drinks and beverages of certain things at that time during your feeding window. So it's basically just time patterned eating. That's what it boils down to. Voluntary. You're voluntarily giving up food for an extended period of time.
And these are some examples of some of the window that you can eat 16 hours of you would fast, and then you would eat for 8 hours, and 18 hours that you would fast, and you're eating a shorter time, 6 hours, you would eat within a 6 hour compacted window. or 20 hours fast, 4 hours eating, or the OMAD, the 1 meal a day, which I've been experimenting with a lot here lately. So more of the basis is that your body is really always in one state of it or another. Either you're fasting or you're feeding. I mean, and if you think of it in those simplistic terms, you will really understand what happens during these windows. And like during the fasting window, you can consume like still water, sparkling water, black coffee, cheese, no creams, no sugars, that type of thing. So we want to have a caloric deficit so that we're not intaking calories. And in the feeding window, we'll talk about that in a second. But I want to break down some things in the fasting windows. And Cliff and Arden and Q, you can jump in here. But the leptin hormone, and I know we're getting a little technical, but if you're going to get into this, like Cliff said, you have to learn a few things. You babes at first, but you didn't stay a babe your whole life. You got intelligence. So we're going to start on learning a few things. So the leptin hormone is, you have leptin and you have ghrelin. Now the leptin hormone can suppress your appetite. So this is what happens when you start intermittent fasting. Your appetite decreases dramatically. You limit your consumption and you start to go into burning stored fats. And that helps to keep your insulin level low, what we call baseline. Now, Q, talk about the other things, ketosis and autophagy.
Yeah, ketosis is, when your body shifts or transitions into burning that excess fuel, which is your fat, your stored fat. Mm-hmm. And that's the magic and science of intermittent fasting, because that's when weight loss begins, because your body's then running off of the other source of energy, which is your stored fat. And go ahead, were you about to say something?
No, I was going to just say autophagy definitely does that. But autophagy, Cliff, could you tell them how the body healing, because I know you know about this part.
Oh, yes.
With the healing of the body, like it's more than weight loss. It does a lot of other things. Can you kick a little bit of that for them?
Yeah, one of the things that people need to understand is the purpose of having the body at rest.
Right.
Okay. The body at rest is what gives it its healing power. But also, one of the things that, and Q mentioned it also a minute ago, people have got to understand it's all about the body's ability to be able to digest these foods. And so you cannot be in a constant state of digestion. In other words, you're eating 2 and 3 and 4 times a day, and your body is in a constant state of digestion.
Yes.
Your body never gets an opportunity to rest because it takes more energy to digest food than it does to walk 3 miles.
Oh, say that again. Hold on. That is one of the most powerful things about intermittent. Say that one more time, Cliff, please.
It takes your body more energy to digest food than it takes to walk 3 miles.
Oh. Wow, man. See, those are things that people are unaware of, Cliff. And that's why it's so good to have you on tonight to break this down for us, man, so people can really have a true understanding of what this can do for their bodies.
I'm glad you said that, because while it's processing that food, it's a few things it's not doing. It's not restoring yourself. It's not, you're not really resting. Even if you eat and go to sleep. And I was guilty of that. I spent years and years in a recording studio. So my dinner was at 2:30 at night, 3:30 at night with Mr. Knight over there. When he was Big Lenny, and he was Big Lenny because we was eating 3:30 at night, 3 o'clock at night, big meals. But you go to sleep on that, you don't rest. Your body processes that food all night. You wake up hungry and you wake up tired.
Yes.
And you do not heal yourself while you're processing that food. I didn't mean to jump in too far, but.
And the other thing I would like to add as well, that we talked about this, and the reason that it really becomes important, because autophagy really comes into play when you extend your fasting window just a little bit more, so that your body has a chance to come down to baseline. And not only are you running your body's running off of that stored fat, which you're losing weight, but it then gives your body becomes like a self-cleaning oven, as we talked about. Yeah. And everybody has damaged and dirty cells within their body. And what autophagy does, it cleans up those damaged and dirty cells and regenerates them And as a result, you feel better. You're more energetic. You're thinking more clearly. And all these things are part of intermittent fasting. And autophagy plays a big part in that. And the longer you fast, the longer you're in, the autophagy works for you even more. The more you extend your fast.
Now, the other side of that, the flip side, the feeding window is when you're starting to deal with your ghrelin hormone. And your ghrelin hormone is the hunger hormone. And that starts to take over when you start eating. It's like the more you eat, the hungrier you get sometimes. And that's when you're actually doing your refueling. So if you're doing a 20-hour fast with a 4-hour eating window or 16 and 8, that's when you see that 4 to 8 hours windows when you can actually refuel. And hear what I'm saying. I'm using the word refuel. I ain't saying nothing about just being a glutton. I'm saying refuel.
Yes.
Our bodies are made to get refueled for energy. Now, we've taken eating to a whole different level as time goes on. But I mean, if you look back through the history, caveman days, you know, there was scarcity. They ate when they caught something. And
exactly.
It's so readily disposable for us right now, food all over the place, that we really have ruined our bodies and ruined ourselves, and we're causing all these cancers, like Cliff said, you know, with his uncle. So, and then also during the feeding window, your insulin levels will rise again. When your insulin levels are risen and you're into burning glucose instead of, you know, using ketosis and fat as a fuel source, you can't really burn your fat, because ketosis was basically stopped in this method. So if you can start to understand these two screens, and you can go back and watch this later and really understand it and do your research a little bit, you'll have a lot more better results with intermittent fasting. So look, we're gonna kick a video real fast. I love this brother right here. His name is Edward V. He has a YouTube channel. It's called Fledge Fitness. He's gonna talk to me real fast, 30 seconds, about a breakdown on how you can start intermittent fasting.
On to the video. First thing I'm going to say is probably going to throw a curveball to everybody out there. Probably not going to expect this, but the first thing that I would say is the guide to intermittent fasting, especially when you're going into it, is focus on the foods that you want to eat. Now, there's somewhat of a caveat, because I want to say at first, but your body and your mind and everything starts to kind of shift when you're doing intermittent fasting. So once you start to get acclimated to the whole fasting regimen, you become more hyper aware of what you're eating, and you tend to make more healthier choices. But in the beginning, because willpower is something that does exist, it's something that is very finite. So you don't want to just pound at that willpower instantly by making sure you're eating all of this stuff and making sure you're doing this specific diet and doing this and fasting and this and that. When you do all of that, when you compound all of those elements, it makes the fasting portion much harder, because it.
So Arden, he was talking about really right here, when you first starting, don't forget, we're talking about the beginners.
Yes.
When you first starting, now, you know, you want to eat the foods that you like, the foods that you want to eat. Now, we're not talking about Cliff or Lenny or Q, because we're at the point now that we know to make even better choices, so we can take this fasting to a deeper level of cleaning. And so talk about the pattern that he's, break that down for us, Art.
You said none of us started where we are right now. So bottom line, you're going to start where you are, period. And those foods that you feel like that one you like and you enjoy, because you're going to have a smaller window in comparison to what you're used to. So going into those meals and enjoying those meals and engaging in meals you enjoy will help you in that situation. But I would also say, as you're doing that, look at, you know, your healthier options for the foods that you like and you enjoy. Also, if you're adding exercise in it, it's really good to exercise while you're in your fasting moment, or, you know, as you know, sometimes, well, I wake up in the morning personally, and I work out first thing in the morning, because that allows me to go through pretty much almost 3/4 of the time of my fasting cycle. So I'm really into a fast by the time I wake up, and I can get out and I can burn off a few things that, you know, that are build up overnight. They say one of the chemicals, I'm not going to get into a bunch of chemicals that initiate fear and host fear in your body. You can burn it off in the morning by a 20-minute workout, which all of us can walk 20 minutes.
Absolutely.
That burns that off, and that gets that out of your system. So when you attack in the day, especially in this world of fear that they keep on whipping around us, it's very, very helpful for you to get out there, break a sweat, come back in, do your meditation, prayer, whatever you do, and then get into your day. But
No
very
doubt.
important to just kind of enjoy what you enjoy in that window, and it'll work very well for you. And like I said, you take one step and you overcome those temptations one at a time. In a little while, you'll be right at your dream's doorstep. But guess what? Greatness is inside.
I like
But
how you
it's
said
through
that.
the gates of discipline. It really is through the gates of self-discipline. And guess one, there's one thing that you can't outsource: self-discipline.
Wow. Wow. That's
Can't nobody
thought,
else
man.
do that for you. Self-discipline,
thought,
self-control,
brother.
self-mastery. That is an inside job.
Yes.
No
yes.
doubt.
So
Oh, man.
let's
And
just
look,
take one step
natural-
at a time. If we want to start with 8-hour windows, and I would say that would be a safe bet for most people or pretty much everyone. And then as you get comfortable, and it won't take long to get comfortable. When we have people on that's been through it, they get comfortable pretty quickly. 1 week, 2 weeks, they're kind of into a groove.
Yes.
And then if you feel like you want to shorten that scale down a little bit more, then that's fine. But
Yeah.
what's going to happen as you go through that process, you're going to naturally start feeling like I'm doing great. And one thing about when you start seeing something different, especially if you're in this to lose some weight, which it's so much more than losing weight, but when you see things change, you'll get more motivated. Oh man, shoot,
Absolutely.
What if I exercise? What if I didn't eat some hamburgers or those fries? Man, shoot, next week I'm gonna be tight. But you're gonna get momentum, and that's how that builds up, one step at a time. So
Natural. I love that. I love that, brother. And and what you're talking about here is, the thing is, about people starting where they are. One of the things we always talk about is sustainability, and having a certain comfort level when you first get started will allow for sustainability. You're more likely to stay with the program, and then you convert as you move forward, like you said, as you learn more.
It's almost like working out, Q.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying.
Yes.
You go out there and you get your personal trainer to come out there and he kills you the first day and you feel like you done pulled something. You ain't coming back tomorrow.
Exactly.
I'd rather you take some short steps, some small steps, and gradually increase that than blow yourself out and then that's not maintainable. You can't sustain it.
Yes.
And this is what we talk about is lifestyle kind of situations here.
Thank a few people, Arden, that just jumped on too.
Definitely.
Tanisha Smith just jumped on. So
Peace and love.
Ronald Harris,
Charles Fenwick. He told me to tell you, Professor Coates.
That's my man.
Yes, sir.
My man.
Ashley
That's
Shaw.
our man.
Ashley, one of our business partners, great woman, great young woman right there.
Peace and love, man.
Tyrone Scott just jumped on. Sean Strange jumped on tonight.
Big Sean.
That's great. That's great.
Too. Charles, what's up, Charles Fenwick? Lodi, Orlando Mako, and my cousin.
Good to have you, brother.
Rita Knight Smith just jumped on from Atlanta, GA. Terry Howland and Joe Cobb. Joe Cobb asked a question, having some difficulty. Terry Howland, thanks for jumping on, brother. One of the baddest bass players I know. So we're gonna watch this next video, and then we're gonna have Cliff to break this down. This is another part of what Edward V talks about.
Another thing that I want to say is you need to remain hydrated. Yes, because there are other side effects that can happen when you simply are dehydrated. Normally, before intermittent fasting, when you just ate food, even if you didn't drink water or whatever you did, simply eating the food actually created hydration. Since there's water in the foods that we eat, because we're eliminating that constant hydration from the food, you might think that the amount of water that you drank before is sufficient. But now that you're condensing your eating window to a smaller time frame, you're not consuming water as frequently. These things can cause headaches, irritability, and even water retention. So you want to make sure that you're hydrated. And the best thing to utilize for hydration is water.
So Cliff, break that down for us, brother.
I'll break it down for you real good. First of all, understand this perspective. The world is 75% water.
We are.
Let's be clear. Your brain is 80% water, and your body is 73% water. And so therefore, if you're not putting 73% water back into your body, then you're going to have problems eliminating. You're going to have problems keeping your body flushed out. You're going to have issues. And so here's the rule of thumb. The rule of thumb is take your body weight, cut it in half, and that's how many ounces of water you should be drinking a day. So in other words, if you weigh 180, if you weigh 180 pounds, you should be drinking at minimum. I ain't talking about stuff that water is in. I'm talking about water. And so therefore, from like my wife has been doing for years, she keeps water on her nightstand.
Yes.
And so
Yes, my
therefore, the
brother.
first thing she drinks in the morning is water. Last thing she drinks before she goes to bed at night is water. Keep yourself flushed out. How can you tell? If your urine is too dark, you know for a fact you're not drinking enough water.
Cliff, say that one again. Say that again, because that's
if your urine is too dark, you're not drinking enough water.
That's powerful, powerful, man. Thank you, brother.
Cliff, could you repeat once again, because I think everybody may not have caught it, about the amounts of water people should be drinking. Could you break that down one more time?
Okay, I'll do that one more time.
Yes.
You should take your body's weight.
Yes.
Cut it in half. And that's how many ounces of water at minimum. We're only talking about minimum.
Yes, sir.
That you should be drinking. And the reason why I say that is because you should be drinking copious amounts of water per day. It should get to the point where water is second nature. You don't need to get thirsty, because by the time you get thirsty, you are already dehydrated.
So that 140-pound woman should be drinking at minimum 70 ounces of water daily.
That's correct.
I got you. And that 200-pound man should be drinking at least 100 ounces of water daily.
Correct.
That's indeed.
And you know what's so funny? We have that clarified for everybody out there.
That's correct.
A lot of us have problems with that L4 and L5 in our backs.
That's right. Because there's
water pockets that's right under that. And when you're dehydrated, they don't float. They can crack you. They can do all the stuff they want. But until you get more water and fill those pockets up,
that's right,
you're going to have pain in your back.
That's right.
Break that down again on the L4 and L5, because there might be a little bit over something. I'm not saying it's over somebody's head.
Your lower back. A lot of times we have lower back issues, and you find out that there's a pocket that holds water that lubricates those L4 and L5s that float. And if you're dehydrated, those pockets are dehydrated and they don't float properly, and you have pain and irritation. And a lot of times you get treatment, you taking painkillers, but you should have just saved your money and bought a few gallons of water and got down on the water instead of the mag.
So the main takeaway from this is that we really need to learn how important hydration and drinking water is to each of us daily.
Yes.
And it's something that should not be neglected by drinking other beverages, sodas and beer, whatever else you're drinking. Make sure that you have water in your diet daily. That's the main takeaway from this. Correct, Cliff?
Yes, that's correct. And one more point, Lenny, and I know we're running short on time. We only got 8 minutes.
Oh, you're good, brother. Go ahead.
But understand that when you're dehydrated, that means you're drying out your liver, you're drying out your kidneys, your lungs can't function right. You follow what I'm saying? So all of your spongy organs can't function right. Why? Because they don't have, as Natural just said, the fluidity.
Yes.
Hey, Cliff,
function correctly.
Cliff, I guess that would be very, very timely for today's climate, what's going on out here in the world.
That's correct.
Absolutely.
I thought it was very powerful. So Q, I got one more video, and can you break this down after we talk about picking a fasting window? So let's let Edward V tell us what's up. My man from Flair's Fixes, he's on YouTube. He's a great intermittent faster. Y'all go check his channel out. Let's listen to him.
Now moving on, this is pretty important. Picking a fasting window that makes sense to your lifestyle. Don't just pick a window at random. Literally evaluate your lifestyle. See if you go to work in the morning, if you go to work in the afternoon, if you go to work during the overnight, if you don't go to work, if you work from home. Know where you stand in terms of your lifestyle. Do you go out every Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays? Do your friends come over every day? And do you eat at a specific time with your friends? You have to evaluate your lifestyle. Sit back, look at what you do on a daily basis, and then construct your time frames based on the convenience factor within your lifestyle. Remember, you want this thing to work. So you want to take down as many walls, which is why the first thing I mentioned is eating the things you like at first, because you just want to get into this thing. You want to build a rhythm so that it is easy for you to do different things.
See, that's a great video, because
Nobody said that.
One of the things we talked about earlier was sustainability. And a part of that being a sustainability means picking something that works for you. The last thing you want to do is get started and find out, well, wow, this doesn't work for my schedule. This doesn't work for me. That's why it's so important that you pick something that fits your lifestyle. as Arden might mention earlier, if you're a person that works overnight, starting at 8 p.m., cutting off food at 8 p.m. may not work for you. You have to find something that fits your lifestyle. We recommend starting with a 16-hour minimum fasting period and with an 8-hour eating window. But allow yourself some flexibility. Have flexibility in your schedule and choose the window that works best for you. Now, I know we always use the example of cutting off eating after 8 p.m. and not having a meal until at least noon of the following day, which is a 16-hour fast. That might not be the exact time frame for you. It can be on a sliding scale. You may decide you want to start eating at 8 a.m. every morning and cut it off 8 hours after that at 4 p.m. every day. So pick the window that works for you and that will allow you to sustain this on a daily basis, because after all, this is not a diet. This is a lifestyle change. And we want this to be something they can do every single day.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Q, the last segment for the night, we're just about ready to wrap this up, is for the beginners, is tips. Little tips that can help you through this journey, because tonight is all about the beginner or the person that just started doing this a week or two ago and trying to find their way and navigate their way through this situation and really improving their health. So we came up with some tips that will really help you. And one of them is to plan your fasting drinks, is what I say. So for the most part, you can't drink something that has calories in it. So you're going to drink like some alkaline water, some black coffee is okay, or some sparkling water, something like that that doesn't have calories in it. And another thing is to try to stay busy.
Yes.
If you're working, or whether you can exercise, or just kind of keep your mind. I'll tell you one thing about it. Gardening is a good thing. One thing about intermittent fasting, your mind gets sharper.
Yes.
Your mind gets very crisp and sharp. Cliff, you can tell them about that, because your body is, like you say, your stomach is resting. It's not digesting as much. So now you have all this energy and your faculties just awaken. Can you talk about that for a quick second?
Yeah, I can. One of the things that you will, and you said your mind is sharper, but I say there's a new sense of alertness.
Interesting.
There's a new sense of awareness of life's peripheral vision. You notice more things, and that's what's important.
Man,
the precision tune.
Absolutely.
Feels like your mind's running on high octane. Indeed.
Couple other things you can do is to
hey, Lenny, let me address that. Stay away from temptations. And
go right ahead, my brother. Go ahead.
Here's what's important. Pull your partner aside, pull your spouse, your partner, your girlfriend, boyfriend aside, and let them know what you intend on doing for you.
Man, that is so powerful, man. That is so powerful.
Let them know. Look, this is for me. Look, I made a decision that I want to do this particular thing for me. I'd like for you to join me, but if you are not going to join me, don't hinder me.
How about that?
Yes.
And I say,
that is just such sound advice, and that was one of the things. And I can relate to what you're saying, because when I first started, that was the thing that got me through my beginning stage. I had a partner that worked with me and supported me, and even went as far as removing things from my household that would hinder me. So she was on board all the way. And that is so important. That's having that support right within your home. Yes.
Huge.
Get a partner.
And I would say one other thing. A lot of us have children that still live with us.
Yes.
So pull them into it, because right now our children are the heaviest out here in the business.
Yes.
Really, and are extremely unhealthy as far as, you're seeing young children in elementary school with sugar diabetes. It should not be happening. I mean, we don't move as much, or the children don't move as much as, we did when we were younger.
That's right.
But pull the children into this lifestyle, because right now they're formable. You know what I'm saying? To kind of get them into a mindset of, oh, I know I want to eat this way, and this is why. Not just, you're going to do it because I told you so. You're going to do it because this is why. And,
Cliff,
and these are the reasons. And as they go through it with you, one, you got a team, and teamwork makes the dream work. You can always do more together. So in that mindset, in that light, your whole family is elevating.
Yes.
Sometimes you're gonna have to lead the race by yourself, but you still need to throw that rope out there to pull them along with you. And that's very helpful.
Cliff, could you address the obesity epidemic within our children, African American children? And I know it's because of diet and what's out there, but could you break that down a little bit? How it's really hurting our children so much?
Hey, Q, it is 8:59 and 47 seconds, and I'm going to be on the show next week, and we'll pick up from there. Go, Lenny.
All right, awesome, my brother.
We're gonna wrap it up with these. Look, don't buy the problems. If you don't bring it home, it won't, start no problems, won't be no problem. So
how about that?
If they in your household, you're gonna be bound to eat them at some point. So
absolutely.
Don't buy the problem, and then restart after you make mistakes. So
yes,
no
with that being said, look, I want to thank our guest tonight, Cliff. I know we're gonna wrap up shortly, Arden and Cliff, but Cliff, I do want you to quickly talk about your book that you wrote, the name of your book, where people can get it, and your little background about that real fast.
I will be back on the show next week, and I will talk about all of that.
He's a vocalist too.
Give him the title at least.
I'm a stickler on time. I'd love to talk. The name of the book is called To Those Who Know Me Well, The Diary and Musings of an Ordinary Black Man from Seat Pleasant, Maryland. And all you got to do is Google, and about 10 places from Amazon to you name it will come up.
Thank you,
awesome.
All right. Appreciate it, Cliff.
So I know if y'all got any questions, I think we covered most of them in the chat tonight. We just thank everybody for jumping on. All kinds of different people jumped off tonight. Avis Weinbeck, Terry Huggins. Thank y'all for joining in tonight. If you have questions, Q usually does a rebroadcast of this on a watch party tomorrow sometime. So you can check that out. And until next week, the Knight Brothers Intermittent Fasting Show. I want to thank you for coming out. Any parting words, gentlemen?
I would just implore people, if they do have questions, they can place them below, and we will answer their questions after the show.
Peace and love, everyone.
Peace and love, everybody. Have a great night.
And flower blossom. Peace and love. Thanks for jumping on.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for coming on.
All right, brother.
Thank you, Clifford. Thank you, Arden. Appreciate you guys, man. Much love to you.
You guys have it.
Talk to y'all here.
All right.
My man.